Welcome into the Echo Sportscast number 79.
I'm Jackson Bull.
And I'm Ben Sargent. The NDA Volleyball All-Stars were announced. We have all the details heading into Tuesday night's game at Canadore College.
Bay City Baller 3-on-3 basketball tournament is back in 2 weeks, featuring men's and women's tournaments, dunk contests, and thousands of dollars up for grabs for participants. We have all the details on when you can check out the third edition of the popular spring tournament.
And finally, we sat down with Algonquin teacher and coach Mat Sneddon to talk about his time with Barron's Athletics. We talk hockey, we talk girls hockey, as well as setting up the OFSAA tournament that just was recently held last week at the school and Canadore gyms.
All of that on the way and more after word from our lead sponsor, Battery.
The snowmobile is parked. The ice is melted. And suddenly, all those batteries you ignored all winter are no longer working. The boat just won't start. The ATV's not cooperating. Even the golf carts decided it's taking the season off. That's where Battery North Bay comes in. Boats, ATVs, motorcycles, e-bikes, solar systems, cordless tools, even the kids' Power Wheels. If it runs on a battery, chances are we've got it in stock and ready to go. We're locally owned, proudly serving Northern Ontario, and we ship Canada-wide. Stop by 1315 Main Street West or call 705-478-5400. Battery North Bay, powered up for every season.
The NDA League announced their all-star teams for both junior and senior girls volleyball for a game hosted this coming Tuesday at Canadore College. I will start with the junior girls Team Black. Kira Allison from Schollard, Ali Belanger from Schollard, Riley Champagne from Algonquin, Veronique Leblanc from Franco, Ali Raymer from Chippewa, Katie Riddler from Chippewa, Ella Silverthorne from Algonquin, Caitlin Tucker from Schollard, and then coaches Ryan Marshall from Chippewa and Alexi Chevrier from Algonquin. Team White is Lakin Aspen from Chippewa, Annie Buell from West Ferris, Aaliyah Cullen from Schollard, Brooke Georgiev from Schollard, Shay Gore from Schollard, Victoria Penner from Algonquin, Michaela Fanuff from Algonquin, and Lilia Young from Chippewa, with coaches Nancy Cerullo from Schollard and Janelle Fanuff from Algonquin.
And on the senior side, Team Black is comprised of Isabel Aubin from Franco Cite, Riley Brown from Chippewa, Emma Cullen from Schollard, Brenna Gervais from Chippewa, Madison Riddle from Schollard, Molly Robertson from Chippewa, Emily Scott from Schollard, Caitlin Smart from Algonquin, with coaches Sylvie Lapierre from Schollard and Christine Cloutier from Algonquin. On the Team White side, you have Sarah Cockburn from Chippewa, Shelby Dashney from West Ferris, Kaylin Georgiev from Schollard, Rhea Gould from Schollard, Anna Riley Vachon from Schollard, Olivia Stewart from West Ferris, Megan Winrow from Chippewa, and Mrs. Wolak from Algonquin, with Sarah Pickles, Chippewa, and Nancy Cerullo from Schollard as coaches. And finally, we have the All-Star nomination recognition in the junior world. Emily Aubin from Franco, Melanie Carrière from Algonquin, Silver Kustichin from Schollard, Abigail Lacroix from Franco, Kaylee Lamont from Northern, Peyton Sauve from Franco, Savannah Schulz from Northern, and on the senior side, Mia Belanger from Northern, Kirsten Daly from Chippewa, Madison Gravel from Schollard, Charlie Ringette from Chippewa, Emerson Tunema from Algonquin. We also had, before we get to the very long Mat Sneddon interview we did, it was about an hour long, so that's why this episode is so long. We don't have a whole lot of other stuff for you, but the big thing that's coming up in 2 weeks' time, so not this coming weekend, so tomorrow onwards, but the following weekend, is the Bay City Baller Tournament that's held, the 3-on-3 basketball. It is a lot of stuff happening. So on Saturday, we've got the men's elite bracket plus the dunk contest. 7 teams have been confirmed. They're all fighting for over $3,100 in prize. 5 dunkers fighting for $300. And then on Sunday, there's the women's open tournament, the men's recreational tournament. There's a kids clinic and a 3-point contest. 7 teams are in each division, with women's battling it out for $1,400 and the men's rec battling it out for $300. All the event takes place at Canadore. And Jackson, you weren't on the Sportscast last year when we did this, but it's a really neat tournament. I don't know if you've heard about it before, but this is, I believe, the 3rd annual edition of this tournament. It is a lot of fun.
I've heard, but I have no idea. Like, I haven't heard very much about it. Just that some familiar names have played or have participated in it and have been successful, but I'm looking forward to it this year.
It's a lot of fun. I wasn't up there getting footage last year. I think Dave was up there, and then I know they sent us some footage as well. We've had Liam on from the 3-on-3 League. We've done 3-on-3 coverage kind of last year through the summer. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch too, because with it being 3-on-3, it's much more dynamic, fast-paced. It's like watching 3-on-3 hockey. It's just transition 90% of the time. The dunk contest is really cool. I'll add some footage you'll be able to see here of the dunk contest we had last year. It's fun. It's kind of like an NBA All-Star game for North Bay. It doesn't say anything about pricing. I don't think you have to pay to get in. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see anything regarding pricing. I think you just show up. There's food available, like concessions available. I think they hand out free popcorn. I don't want to give away too much because I don't know for sure, but I do know that it's a big event that takes place up at Canadore. And hopefully for next week, I'm hoping to get a little bit more concrete scheduling and stuff. I'll try to reach out back to the guys who are coordinating it to figure out exactly some of the times so we can go up there and get some coverage. It's really fun. Did you watch any of the 3-on-3 last year at all, like during the summer?
Nothing. Busy guy.
Well, you can watch it this year because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's really good. They have a great, you can check out their Instagram too. I believe it's Threes League, I believe is what the Instagram is called. Bay City Ballers also has its own Instagram as well. So check it out. They do some stuff. They do some stuff with 3-on-3 Canada as well. It's really cool. So a lot of things that are coming up. You got the All-Star game on Tuesday, and then in a week and a half, in 2 weeks from now, you'll have the 3-on-3 contest. So yes, not a lot going on in the NDA, but a lot of stuff happening in and around North Bay for that. And that brings us to the main course, or the main attraction for this episode, which is we had a Algonquin biology teacher come in.
Yep, just some Joe Schmo teaching for over a decade. No, we had Mat Sneddon come in, who is, you'll hear he's a fantastic guy. He's very well versed in the NDA athletic world and Algonquin athletic world, obviously. And it seemed like his only gap was football, which is perfect because we talk enough football.
A lot about. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Ryan has a pretty strong hold on the.
And he teaches history.
And what's that?
Ryan teaches history.
And he teaches. We found out he teaches history.
I had no idea.
Yeah, which is awesome. And again, it's we had an interesting conversation about like gym teachers, and it's the amount of coaches that are not just gym teachers. It's also like his dad was a gym teacher, and him going to biology, and how gym has evolved, how schools have evolved a lot, especially since COVID, and how we talk about so much stuff. He was part of that very strong hockey run, the boys hockey, who won three in a row, kind of in the mid-late 2010s. He was the girls on the girls hockey coaching staff. We talk a little bit about the creation of that. We talk about his time volleyball, OFSAA, of course. Him and he helped convene the OFSAA tournaments. So a lot of really good stuff. And I feel like he's a guy we could talk to for like 2 or 3 hours.
100%.
Yeah.
He has the knowledge, has the experience, 100%.
And we had to put a kind of a hard stop on it. So it was a really good conversation. And he gave, fair play to him, he gave up part of his March break to come in this morning and talk, which was always nice, because March break is, a time to unwind, but also a time for teachers to get caught up on a lot of stuff, a lot of marking and stuff you'll have to get used to.
Yeah, I can't wait. Itching for it, really. You're
itching for it. Okay, well, let's throw it over now to our interview we had with Algonquin Barons teacher and coach, Mat Sneddon.
We are here with Mat Sneddon, a biology teacher and coach with athletic background at Algonquin and OFSAA convener this year. Matt, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. Happy to be here.
I like how you threw in the biology teacher.
I needed it.
Because we thought you were athletic director, like some fancy title, and it's like, no, I'm just a biology teacher.
Yeah, like I grew up in a gym. Like my dad was the athletic director at the school, so
there you go.
A lot of athletic background, but don't like the structure of the gym, so like the structure of the classroom, so went the biology route.
That's fair. What's the life of a gym teacher like?
From following my dad, mostly, you get to dress in sweatpants all day, which is
that's a check mark.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. You get comfortable, but no, they do a lot of really cool stuff, and like people look at gym teachers as if like it's kind of the easy road, but there's a lot of planning involved in that, and like now with the way the curriculum's built is you guys got to set up different fitness testing, different games. Like it's no longer that 2 weeks of volleyball. There's no longer that 2 weeks of basketball. It's a little more dynamic. We have like our female gym teachers like Christine and Lisa. They take their kids to jujitsu, to cycling, and doing all that stuff.
Where was that when I was in high school?
I was going to say, it's richer than me for sure.
We just had to run laps.
And then Pat and Jamie do a great job too. Like Jamie runs the outdoor ed. So like he's out there on the bikes. He takes some canoeing, rock climbing, and Pat's out there. He's doing all the fitness stuff, and like we got a great weight room. So it's a little more dynamic than most people think. So
is this the French Catholic curriculum, or
it's the everything curriculum? I think I'm pretty sure Chippewa has an outdoor ed class.
Yeah, we had a nice outdoor ed class. We had Sarah Pickles run it, and she was fantastic.
About 10 years too late to experience a. Well, yeah, I would just say our high school gym classes were, well, you know this. Yeah. It was dodgeball. Yeah. It was dodgeball, and then what was the test you had to the beep test?
The beep test, yeah. You do the beep test 3 times a year. It's evolved from there, but it's a nice gig.
Yeah. You get out and going, which is kind of cool. Let's talk a little bit about OFSAA, because OFSAA obviously just happened, single A girls volleyball. Yeah. It seemed like a successful event. I was there on Tuesday morning. It seemed well organized. I saw the pictures of the Canadore gym. They had multiple courts going on there.
Yeah, we had 2 courts at Canadore, and then we used both gyms at Algonquin, the 7 and 8 gym and our main gym.
So talk a little bit about just about OFSAA, how that went, maybe a little bit about trying to set that up, because I'm sure that's a whole can of worms of trying to organize everything, because you're dealing with schools from across the whole province.
Yeah, it was a process that started about 3 years ago, actually. Like at Algonquin, we had run quite a few OFSAAs in the past. Like we had done some soccer, some basketballs. In 2017, we did AAA boys basketball, which was held at Canadore Nipissing, which was fantastic. You had the best basketball players in the province coming up. That was before basketball went to the OSCBA format, where they had prep schools essentially. So we were getting the best basketball players in the province coming down. And then in 2018, we did girls basketball. We had competitive teams back then. And then we took a little bit of a break. Like during COVID, we were supposed to host OFSAA Golf, but that got canceled. So there's about a 10-year gap where we went, you know what, like let's try and get back into this. And we had never done a volleyball one. So we bid for volleyball, challenged ourselves a little bit, and we got it. And so the whole process started about 3 years ago, I'd say.
How does the bidding process work? Is there like a financial commitment, or is it just kind of you put your name forward?
So you put your name forward, and then OFSAA has certain requirements that they look for. So amount of hotel rooms that are available, venues, obviously, and then essentially what are you guys going to offer in a sense that somebody else won't offer. So it was ironic. One of the teams that came up from St. Mary's, Ontario, they also bid for this particular year. So like their coach approached me, which was like, we bid for the same one, and you guys. But he's like looking at it, I'm kind of happy we didn't have to run all this. So, but
do you work with like tourism, for instance, like as part of it? Because obviously that's a huge tourism draw. So I imagine that's probably a big part of the conversation, right?
Yeah, you know what, Tourism North Bay was our biggest supporter. Them and Canadore and TELUS, they were all 3 of them were just absolutely fantastic. Like in a whole, the community was incredible. Like, it's not a small task to run these things, and the cost of officials now, us being in a smaller community, we have to bring in a whole bunch of officials instead of having homegrown ones. So we had to lodge them, feed them, and that comes with a certain cost. So, like, the community in general, we had 23 corporate sponsors that just like, it was incredible. Like, our gold sponsors, we had Speedy, we had The Brick, Canadore, TELUS, Tourism North Bay, the City of North Bay, and then like it was just fantastic. Like I was really, really surprised as how the community supported us. But tourism loves it because it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
So like those hotel rooms are typically sitting empty, and the restaurant's a little less busy. So they love it when we bring them in. Like we brought in just over 300 athletes and coaches, and then their caravans of whoever came with them. So parents. So we probably welcomed in about 500, 600 out of towners on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So they love that.
And we talked about we talked about this last week about the recruitment piece of it, because Nipissing and Canadore, especially because Canadore helped with facilities and stuff, but it's still the same area. Like Nipissing and Canadore are one building. That's got to be a huge thing for them, because now it shows off these people from down south, not just North Bay, but unfortunately you're here during like the worst time of the year. But you're not just showing off North Bay, but you're showing off the facilities that Canadore and Nipissing have, right? So they must be like loving that.
Yeah, especially the single A girls. Like sometimes when we host a AA, AAA, like Canadore doesn't have a shot at them, but they don't have a shot at them. And so the single A girls, there's probably a lot more opportunity for recruitment for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's one of those things where the world kind of forgets that it exists past Huntsville. Like the southern world, when they come down here, like we had teams from Essex, like Windsor area, all the way out in Rockland, Plantagenet, Cornwall, like from east, west, and south. Like Thunder Bay came up. They flew from Winnipeg into Toronto and then drove up here. So it's nice for them to see the amenities that we have north. Like it's one of those schools that typically aren't on their roster necessarily when they apply for school. So it was nice to get that partnership up with, especially Canadore. Like Canadore really, like they wanted these kids on campus, and we agreed. Mm-hmm. Like they showed off their facilities. We walked them through the campus. Like instead of necessarily just walking them right into the gym, we kind of wanted to showcase everything that they have.
Skip the steps of...
Exactly.
Like, you didn't want to go down the steps that
some
make
of
no
them
sense.
went down those we call them architectural marvels, but...
That's part of Nipissing, though. That's not part of Canadore.
Right. So, and the original goal was to possibly do the banquet at the Aviation Center, where they do the Chat for Chad and those big, so show off that campus. Unfortunately, with it being in March and school still going on, it just wasn't feasible. But they went above and beyond to accommodate us, and it was a partnership that we hope to be able to continue with them, particularly.
Yeah.
As it comes to recruiting, we had Alice Champion, who is the women's head coach. She was our guest speaker at the banquet, and she was fantastic. Great message, like a message of perseverance and just how to be a good teammate. So I think that resonated with the kids. So again, it shows the quality of coaching that they're going to get up at Canadore as well. So I think it was a win-win for everybody involved, and we hope to work with them if we do this again.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting. We were talking about this beforehand, but you guys also made a lot of the graphics that you saw in and around that event, which was kind of cool because you said you have a makerspace inside Algonquin.
We do.
Again, not something I had when I was in high school. I don't think those things really existed at that point. We had a laptop. I was an ST21, so that was before laptops in school were cool. But that's kind of neat because it's not just athletes who are now getting involved. Like when I walked in, there was students taking. There was a student there taking money and getting passes. So it's kind of like a lot of the school gets involved. It's not just a athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. Like in terms of support from our administration and our staff and our school board, like we couldn't have asked for more. Like we had over 70 plus student volunteers over 3 days, including a snow day, which was the Wednesday. So these kids got themselves out of bed and then found their own transportation to these schools voluntarily. Like we were, like as a school, we can't force these kids to come in on a snow day. So voluntarily they came in and did incredible work. We got so many compliments from other coaches as to how fantastic our volunteers were. So like I got to throw a shout out to Amanda Beaudry and Monique Dzibitz they were in charge of our volunteers, and they picked incredible humans that did such a fantastic job. So, but in the makerspace, like I have Jean-François. I don't know if you ever interacted with him, but he's involved with Lakers volleyball, Lakers softball, and he's hosted some provincial softball tournaments and a lot of OVA volleyball tournaments. And him and Joey are our makerspace gurus. So all the graphics you saw and everything like that came through them. And it's just a tool that we have that's one, extremely cost saving.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to go out and pay to print out participation banners, tournament banners, all our swag bags we printed ourselves, like all these things like we are able to do on our own, which is incredibly cost saving when it comes to these massive events. But it just allows our kids as well to be creative. Like I have a design class as well, and I got a couple kids, like teams would send us their logos. They weren't vectorized; they were a little bit fuzzy. So I would throw it to the kids, and they would re-vectorize them, and it would challenge them to work different Photoshop and Illustrator tools. So we kind of incorporated the whole planning process and organization into the school curriculum.
As somebody who works in a marketing communications building, it's I understand the cost of that.
Yeah,
also
absolutely.
the creative side, which is nice because you learn like the theory part of stuff is important.
Yeah.
I remember when I took like audio engineering and stuff, there's theory that's super important, but you learn a lot more by just being on the job. Like anybody who's ever done an internship or anything like that before, I know like you're literally going through like that internship period right now. Becoming a teacher, so you learn way more
coming
on the job.
into the field. Yeah.
So you learn way more about that now, like when you're on the job, than you will like in a classroom.
Absolutely, like boots on the ground.
Yeah,
and then you don't really know how you're going to respond to an obstacle until you actually face it. So there's a lot of theory that tells you how to do it, but you got to be there.
Yeah. So talk about, so we talked to OFSAA, which is great. Anything that you learned from that you said, man, like next time we got to do this better, or, maybe some lessons learned from the event?
As a whole, like what we realize is that just the little details make a big difference. Like there's the whole planning process in terms of their schedule, not a lot of flexibility in the schedule in the sense that OFSAA sets the schedule and then you kind of assign it to the courts. And there's some expectations as to what you're going to provide the athletes, like a swag bag and things like that. And we just noticed that the more stuff we could give them with the logo on it, the happier they were. And if you could partner yourself up with a big brand, so we were able to partner up with Quench, which is
I don't know what Quench is.
Quench Hydration. So
that's a great name, though.
Yeah,
so
that is perfect.
The backstory behind them is that they're the founders of BioSteel.
Oh, I do know that name.
And they sold the BioSteel company, and then they had a 5-year non-compete, which is expired. And they've restarted up this new hydration company, and they've got McKinnon, they've got Cole Caulfield. They've got the big names in hockey, and they're really pushing into the volleyball market. So I don't know if you know of the BioSteel All-American basketball game that they host at
sounds familiar,
at the Old Maple Leaf Gardens there. So they would take the best All-American, All-Canadians, the best All-Canadian basketball players, and they play like an All-Star game similar to the McDonald's All-American game in the States. So BioSteel started that model when they were running BioSteel, and since they've sold the company now, they've taken that model and they're kind of doing it with volleyball. So they're doing like an All-Canadian, the Quench Cup volleyball. So they really wanted to get involved. So we reached out to them, and they gladly partnered up with us. So every athlete got a Quench water bottle, some Quench sample packs. Yeah. And we were drawing that stuff out at the banquet. And the fact that the kids feel like they were recognized in a sense that this is like a proper provincial championship. If you can make them feel like superstars, that's like we gave individual athlete entries where they had their own lanyards with player passes, just because you got kids coming from Plantagenet that just outside of Ottawa, there's 2 sets of streetlights in the city. So they want to come here and feel like queens, right? So the more you can do that, regardless of the result, those are the memories they'll remember. So really focus on those little details.
100%. I think, especially the kids coming from the smaller markets, this is the show for them. Yeah, they're not playing post-secondary volleyball. They might not even have a club in their city. They have worked with their peers and got here. And so the lights are pretty bright. They're going into Canadore and not like their typical school gym.
Absolutely.
And so having... I remember having everything, going to the merchandise table and just shirt, pants, sweater, and whatever else you can give me.
Absolutely.
Lanyard, sure.
Anything with the logo on it, they're all over.
100%, because you don't know if they're in grade 10, 11, 12, or if they're in grade 13, and they've tried 4 years in a row to get here, and they didn't. So I think that's fantastic. And then getting a partner, I haven't been to that many offices, but it's definitely in the double digits. And I don't think I've seen like a major partner like that be given out in North Bay or otherwise. And I think that's fantastic. Like, what a great idea.
Yeah, like, and that was the beauty of us being able to start this process early, is that we were able to reach out. Like, I sent probably 80, 90 emails out to just these major companies to see if anybody just wanted to jump in on board. And I got like 2 emails back. So, but it's all it takes, right? You just need that one brand to say, yeah, like, commit to us. And it was fantastic. And then, but the thing is, with volleyball, which is interesting compared to, let's say, a soccer or a basketball, is that there's no prep league for volleyball. So we were getting, like, your best volleyball athletes are playing school volleyball as well as their club teams. Mm-hmm. Whereas the basketball, you remove probably the top tier of all OFSAA basketball athletes because they're playing in the prep league.
Is there? I didn't know that there was a prep league.
Yeah, there's a prep league. So it's OSCBA, and the only team in the north is Llewellyn.
I was going to say, because
Llewellyn's girls program, not their boys program. Their girls program has produced girls like the Swords girls. I don't know if you know the Swords girls. So like Sila and Savvy Swords from Sudbury. Like their dad was Sean. Their dad is Sean Swords. He was the head coach at Laurentian.
I feel so out of the loop. I don't know what Quench is. I don't know who these people are.
So Sean played for Team Canada at the Sydney Olympics, and good friends with Steve Nash. So.
I know that name.
Yeah. So what happened was when Nash got the job in Brooklyn, he called Sean up at Laurentian and said, "Do you want to come be on in our coaching system?"
Cool.
So he's coaching their G League team in Long Island, and the girls went with him. But they played 2 years of prep at Llewellyn. Sav is now at Michigan. So she was all rookie team last year.
Wow.
And Sila just committed to Kentucky.
It's so incredible to see like women's sports take off professionally.
It's incredible, yeah.
Because we've seen it. Well, the WNBA has existed for a number of years, but with like hockey as well, that's a big one. Like the PWHL has taken off.
Oh,
like,
it's crazy.
It's almost doing like NHL numbers in terms of getting people in seats and stuff. And they have some really cool logos.
Yeah,
I will say they have some of my favorite logos in hockey.
Yeah, they went. Yeah, we could talk logos all day, but. They went non-conventional with the no S's, like a lot of like Frost, Charge, like those, like the non-S, the non-plural teams. I've always struggled with those, but
yeah, that's fair.
Our seeding held up, and 1 and 2 played each other in the final. And on the team that ended up winning the silver medal, there was a national team member. So like their outside hitter plays on the U19 national team, like for Canada. So like you're seeing. And then on the other side, she's typically a setter, but was a hitter on this team. And she was in the Ontario provincial program. So like we're getting girls that have real shots at making runs at the Olympics. And so it was like the quality of volleyball was incredible. And I don't think people realize as well as like the product that we have in town in terms of with the OUA.
Yeah.
Especially on the boys side. They're one step below national team. Like there's no OHL, there's no AHL for these volleyball players. They go from OUA right into professional or into national development programs. Mm-hmm. The girls, the women's league in the States there's a lot of recruitment into the NCAA, whereas the boys, there's not a ton of recruitment. All our athletes tend to stay homegrown and local. So Nipissing's run this year on the boys side was
they won
really
their first
impressive.
ever playoff game.
Yeah, and like they properly beat U of T.
Like
it was.
I think they swept them.
They did. Yeah,
3 sets, which is crazy.
It was fun to watch. Like I watched a lot of games, and it was fun to watch them succeed, especially as the way they're built. They're undersized, but they're so athletic. Yeah. So
and the Canadore, I think both Canadore teams made a good run in the OCAA because I know the men's lost in the semis. I think the women's
they both won their crossover games, which is their first round, and then I believe the women took a set from St. Clair. And I think the men ran into Humber, though, which is a wagon. Yeah. Humber's a wagon.
So, I'm pretty sure that they both dropped in the semis. But the men's did well. They looked pretty good all season.
Yeah.
It's nice to see. I mean, we talked to, who was the, I literally just talked to her, the Scholar captain. Kaylin, yeah. She was talking about how she's recruited for Canadore. Nice. So it's nice to see these people. Like Logan Gilpin's another guy for Chippewa who's going to play for Nipissing. Yep. So, volleyball is in a good state in the city, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. Like when you look at like the city in a whole, like we had our girls here obviously as hosts, but we lost in the NASA final. Scholar won their AAA, went to OFSAA as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
you know how they did? I didn't see any updates. No, they got to quarters.
Yeah, so they got to Constellation Quarter, and I think they lost there. But they gave, I'm pretty sure it was St. Anne's, their first game. They took a set from the team that ended up either winning or finishing second. So they were competitive as well. Mm-hmm. And locally, in ours, like the team from Sudbury lost in the bronze medal game. Like
who won? Who ended up winning?
So it was De La Salle College from Toronto, private school. So they represented the Conference of Independent Schools, which is the private system.
Yeah.
And then they beat University of Toronto Schools, which is also a private school, but they play in the Toronto District Catholic Athletic Association. So
yeah, that's not confusing.
Yeah. So there's and then there's TDS. There's the public board too that sends a representative. So it's
and you guys did pretty well at OFSAA too. Like you didn't win a set and you dropped all your games, but they were close. Like we were talking about that too beforehand. Like they were all close sets for the most part.
Yeah, we were competitive. Like the goal was to try and sneak one out to get ourselves into a consolation quarterfinal. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for us, but the girls were very competitive. They didn't look out of place, and I think that was the fear at first, is that, you know what, like we don't really belong here, but I think we demonstrated that we're very capable, and the coaching staff did a great job to get the girls ready. The transition from NASA to those bigger teams, like they ended up playing the bronze medal team, lost 25-23.
Yeah.
We're up most of the first set, then kind of.
Did you go to NASA this year?
Our girls?
Yeah.
They lost in the NASA final to Confederation.
Yeah, okay.
Who ended up winning antique bronze, they call it. They lost in the bronze medal game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting when you look at that, because obviously OFSAA is like, it's the goal. I guess AAA OFSAA would be like the biggest of all of them, but any OFSAA is like incredibly impressive. Yeah. And North Bay's had a decent run at OFSAAs in the past.
Yeah.
Right?
Like Chippewa hosted last year.
Yeah, AA girls.
And I think they competed. Like they
were fine. They had they're missing their best player to swimming. Annabelle
lovely.
Jackson was away swimming, but she's a really good swimmer. So.
Is that the one that ended up at? Is she at Ottawa U?
Yeah,
okay,
and she's still killing it. So, but Chippewa competed for sure. But there were some like. The schools grew, like the team that finished first had like 2 national players, like an outside hitter and then the team that finished second was Champlain out of Sudbury.
Yeah, who lost NASA.
Yeah, and they had to declare up, made it all the way to the final. And
it was like a school of 300 kids. It was impressive. And then a couple years back, Chippewa's boys team won single A, right? Like when they hosted, it was like a COVID year.
Yeah, it was 2021. They beat Yale Crossley, and it was like there was a lot of different sites because you couldn't have 2 courts at one site.
Right.
So I was like an active volunteer in that one, but you could only see like 20% of the teams.
Yeah.
So, but they were a really good team. Like if I talk about Chippewa super athletes, like they had a lot of the names.
Yeah. Checks off a lot of boxes.
It's almost that time of year. Early mornings at the rink, fresh notebooks and backpacks, and a community gearing up for another great season of varsity sports. At Source for Sports North Bay, we're proud to be part of it all. Whether it's finding your kid's first pair of skates, gearing up for tryouts, or outfitting your team for the season ahead, we've got you covered. Because here, we're not just a sports store, we're neighbors, coaches, teammates, and fans. And we're proud to cheer you on every shift, step, and stride of the way. Visit Source for Sports North Bay at 1321 Fisher Street and let us help you along your way.
We often talk about the rhythm of life in North Bay. For Amanda, that rhythm was fast. Hockey practices, baseball games, juggling a full-time career, and keeping up with 2 energetic boys. But life hit pause after routine surgery led to a call she never expected. Stage 2 breast cancer. No symptoms, no warning. Suddenly, Amanda was facing a double mastectomy, reconstruction, weeks of chemotherapy and radiation treatments, and several additional surgeries. The path ahead was overwhelming. Through every stage, one question stayed with her. How do I keep being mom for my boys? Amanda's care team at the North Bay Regional Health Center made all the difference. They understood how deeply she wanted to hold on to familiar routines, Cheering from the stands, being there at bedtime, staying present in the moments that gave her strength. Their compassion kept her connected to the two people who kept her fighting. She stayed present. She stayed grounded. She stayed mom. This holiday season, help ensure patients have access to the exceptional care they need during life's most challenging moments. Your gift helps patients like Amanda stay connected to the people they love while strengthening healthcare for families across our region. Visit nbrhcfoundation.ca or call 705-495-8125 to give.
So let's talk a little bit about your coaching career, because you have you didn't coach anything this year, but you have a lot of experience. You're not just a biology teacher.
No.
This year you're a biology teacher.
This year I'm a biology teacher.
You have give us a little bit of a rundown of your athletic not career, but your coaching career.
So I started teaching in 2012, but in the summers I would come back, and so between 2010 to 2012 I would be coaching with Amanda Beaudry, the junior boys soccer team at Algonquin. So that was a natural transition. Once I started working, I kept doing that for a little while, and then picked up the first 3 or 4 years I did cross country with my Nigs Bits, and then ran into Dan Tessier. So I don't know if you know Dan Tessier. I know.
No, but Jackson does.
I love Dan Tessier.
Yeah. He's a very persuasive individual.
Okay.
So he convinced me to jump 2 feet in to the hockey scene.
Okay.
So I coached hockey with him for 8 years. So we did 8 years of boys hockey. Back then we were a 6-team league. So like we had Whitfield, Franco, and then all 4 schools in town, like Scholar, Chippewa, Ferris, and Algonquin. So really competitive, a lot of fun. Did that for 8 years. And then in between there, picked up the girls basketball junior team, a couple years there, and then transitioned into senior girls basketball for the last 6 years, 5 or 6 years. Took a little hiatus this year. Kids are getting a little bit older, a little less time. Wife wants me at home a bit more, which I totally understand. She's been pretty much a single mom for the first, like last year we played 34 games in a span of 3 months. Finished off with a 4-day trip to Waterloo. So it was a little tough to justify doing that. So took a step back this year, did a little lighter work in terms of organizing the OFSAA, did the girls hockey, and we'll do junior boys soccer again this year. So
I want to dive into the girls hockey a little bit because that's super interesting. But maybe tell us, because I've actually never asked this question, but what is the commitment for you personally coaching something like senior girls basketball? Like, what does that look like week in, week out? Because this is all something like you're basically volunteering your time to do it. Like it's a lot of work that you have to put in on top of, your actual job and grading. And as, both my parents were teachers. So like, I understand they would bring home stuff to mark all the time. And there's this misconception because even it's March break right now, but it's not really a break. Like it is and it's not. And it's the same thing in the summer, right? Like it used to be you didn't get paid in the summer. You just got paid. Now it's different. Like they spread it across, but people didn't understand that concept. They're like, you get 2 months of vacation, and there's a lot of misconceptions. But what does it look like to take the commitment that you put in, or any coach would put into like any sort of senior program?
Well, don't get me wrong. It's a pretty good gig. Like it is a pretty good gig. Like you do, like people when they criticize. There's a certain level of acceptance there that we get a lot of time off and stuff like that. So I don't want to dispel the fact that we do way more than everyone thinks. But
I'm trying to pump your tires. I
know. But, as terms of, it all depends on how you want to run your program. But so we start mid-July. Like girls basketball is always the first season of the year, so we would start mid-July. We would be in the gym twice a week, and we do skills. We'd do skill programs twice a week, all the way through July into August. We'd run our training camp the last week of August. And then once season started, then we're going every night after school, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for about 2 weeks, just working on systems. So
for like an hour, 2 hours? Or
yeah, we usually practice from 3:30 to 5, so an hour and a half. And then so you get your offense set up, you get your defense set up for the first couple of weeks, get these things like certain rules as a team that you want to follow. And then
because you already have your team set up, right?
Yeah, at the senior level, they kind of figured it out as to like, all right, like they transition from junior to senior. they wean themselves out in terms of some people go get jobs, some people start focusing a little more on their academics. So there's a little less cutting, especially in a smaller school like ours. So like during the summer, I'm essentially working with my team for about a month and a half. And then we get to implement our own processes, like which it changes depending on the makeup of your team with some height. We've never really had any height, so we got to get creative a little bit. But and then once the season starts, you play Tuesday, Thursdays, and you practice Monday, Wednesdays. And then every second week you're out of town on a tournament or in town for a tournament. Yeah. So at our school we're lucky enough that we have 2 good-sized gyms. Like we have our 7 and 8 gym, and we have our main gym. So practice times, we're lucky enough that we get to go after school quite often. But now that our volleyball program, our male volleyball program's picked up a bit, we have to share the gym with them. So we go in the morning. So Wednesday morning, usually you're up at 6:30 into the gym at 7 and get going. And it allows the kids who have a job also to work out. Like they could tell their employer, they're like, I can't work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, but I'm available Wednesday, Friday. So you got to throw the girls a bone every once in a while that they could, so to keep that commitment up.
And you guys saw success last year.
We did, yeah.
So that was because you won last year, I believe.
Yeah, we won NDA last year. We won NASA last year, and made a run at OFSAA. So yeah.
So what was that like? I'm pretty sure Dave probably interviewed you last year. I imagine.
Yeah, Dave. I talked to Dave at the end of after we won NDA, so I had a little chat with him.
Yeah, I think I remember. Well, I would have produced it.
No, there
produced
you go,
it, but I don't remember like the specifics. That was like I don't remember what I had for breakfast.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that year, because that was because last year again, you guys. I think you were a bit of an underdog, I believe, last year, a little bit. But
then, I don't think anyone really had us on their radar to win. We knew we'd be competitive. Like we have an idea of like in-house, like we just worry about ourselves, what we can only control, right? And we had a group that was very willing to commit. So we had a really good commitment and a very malleable group in terms of what we could do with them. We didn't have a ton of size. We had Vanessa inside, which she played at Conestoga this year, so transitioned to the next phase. But we had a lot of athleticism in like with Haley, Isabel, and Jordan and those girls there, and we picked up some really good grade 10s that transitioned to the senior game. So we were really well-rounded and had a bit of depth, which is key at that point because you run into injuries, concussions, ankles, things like that. So throughout the season, we tied, I think, for the regular season. I think it was a 3-way tie for the regular season, and then we swept through the playoffs, won the finals in 2, and then went to NASA. And NASA's always been kind of our Achilles heel. We can't get by Horizon. Out of the valley.
So how do we usually do at NASA in girls basketball? Is it kind of you run into the Sudbury teams and stuff, or?
Yeah, so with the senior girls, we've been to NASA 5 times in the last like 6 years when I was coaching, and I had 4 silver medals. So like we would always get to the final, but we couldn't make that leap over, and it was always Horizon. And so the year before they beat us by 4 in the NASA final. Yeah, and we had played them 5 times that year, and they beat us 5 times. So hats off to them. They were clearly the better team, but I think we played them 5 times, and we lost by a combined 9 points. Like in all those 5 games, they're all like 1 point, 2 point games. We just couldn't get over that hump. So we had very little turnover into this year. So these girls kind of had an idea, and we were able to game plan a little bit better, knowing that that's probably who we were going to run into. So we ran into them in the final and beat them in overtime, and that was it. Went to OFSAA. And
you go to OFSAA and find the Toronto team.
Yeah, we ran into we ended up playing the private school first. They beat us, and then
Are they just bigger, taller, stronger? Is that what you find?
Our matchup with them wasn't bad, actually. Like we had a pretty good matchup in terms of they didn't have a ton of height either, but we couldn't keep up with their tempo. Like their speed was just, our bigs weren't getting down the floor quick enough, and they were just beating us in transition, and they set up a 1-3-1 half court trap that we didn't see a ton of down here. So our girls they had a hard time getting the ball low to suck that trap down, suck that zone down low, which were how you beat it. But so that caught us off guard, and then we ran into a big in our second game, and they beat us. And then we won a couple games in the consolation side and lost in the consolation semi to U of T. Ran into someone who just went hot. I think she hit 6 or 7. She just was lights out.
Yeah,
So
I find watching a lot of basketball this year in the NDA, it's one of the big differences is if you can score layups, like especially in transition, I've noticed that a lot where, especially on both sides, but I find that with the girls, you'll watch it where it's like just missed layups here and there on transition, which is just part of like learning and that kind of growth. Because is there more opportunity from a club side on the men's side or the girls' side?
So I used to coach on the girls' side as well with the Spartans. I stopped after COVID, after the COVID year. I had a kid, then a second kid, so it was just really hard to transition, like do basketball full time. So I haven't been in the girls' club scene as much as I've been in the past, but there are still lots of opportunities there.
Yeah.
Like there's, I know a couple of our junior girls are playing with the Spartans, but there's no U17 age group this year, no U18 group this year, or U19. So our senior girls are struggling to find that game after high school. So it's not nearly as popular as club volleyball in town.
Do you notice a difference? Because I'm assuming you play basketball, like
I did,
personally, yeah. So do you notice a difference coaching like women's versus men's? Like, is there a different? Is the game different? Is it kind of the same? A lot of similarities.
There's a lot of similarities. What I've noticed a lot is that the shooting in the girls' game is getting better every year. So like that 3-point threat is really becoming something you have to worry about, especially when you get into provincial tournaments and like closing out shooters, running them off the 3-point line. Just defending the three becomes. It used to be whoever had the tallest girl could kind of run. But now with the introduction of the 24-second shot clock and the 14-second reset, it forces you to be a better shooter. So running girls off the three became a big focus of ours last year, and ourselves learning to shoot the three. Like shooting the three, and like we focused on 3 things last year. Just don't miss bunnies, like you said, like your layups, and then we shot 50 foul shots every practice because. You run into those two 3-point games. If you could shoot, unfortunately at the girls' game, if you could shoot 50% from the foul line, you're going to be successful.
You don't want to be a Shaq.
Yeah, so that's one big difference between the men's league and the boy and the men and the girl. But and then the girls' game is getting quicker as well. Like the transition game is getting a lot better. Like your bigs are getting down the floor a little quicker. You can run some stuff that's a little more complex. So it's improved quite a bit. Like it's been fun to watch, and there was like a bit of a lull after COVID to get the girls back into the gym, but we're finally getting to that point now where we're kind of get back to where we weren't. The league in itself that wasn't overly successful in coming out of COVID, just because getting these girls back into the gym and getting that commitment up. But we're back now to producing some quality. Like some quality athletes, like you got Fiona Madigan out of Ferris, who's she's committed in NCAA D1. Also from Ferris, you have Michaela Peel, who's been at Humber for two years now. I coached her in Spartans ball, and then Vanessa Zwolak, who came out of our program last year, she's at Conestoga. I think she's heading over to Loyalist next year, so she's playing college ball. So we're starting to pick up where we left off there when we were producing girls like Adianda 5 and Kristen Zwolak, who ended up in the States and playing at Ottawa U, those teams there.
I don't think Ferris had a team this year, did they? Senior?
They did not, no.
Which was kind of, I think, a bit of a shock.
It was. Like, they had a run there where they won 3 in a row. They beat us in a final and then kind of avenged some demons last year when we beat them in the semis, but they ran into injury issues last year with a couple girls, so they weren't nearly as strong as they could have been. And this year, I don't know what happened over there. I don't know, but their junior team was very strong. Like Callie runs a good program at the junior level, so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. You never want to see, especially as there's less schools in North Bay than there was, 10 years ago, which is just the reality of population sizes.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's the same thing we talk about hockey, we talk about football, like 3-team leagues. You want to see more people there. There's a bit of a commitment that comes from that.
Yeah, it's turned from you can field a team and will field a team to if you can't field a competitive team, you don't field a team at all, which is definitely the unhealthiest way to go about it. But it's the way that's going about it. I want to talk about hockey.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about Algonquin hockey.
Okay.
So 3 championships in a row.
We're talking about girls hockey, by the way.
No, we're talking about boys
Are
hockey.
we talking about boys hockey? Okay, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
3 championships in a row. Sounds like your girls' basketball program, like 5 days a week. Like Chippewa doesn't sniff that. Chippewa's like 2 days, like, So what does it take, or what did it take to win 3 in a row? Like, what does that look like? Is it just a good group of AA kids that are all like, we'll go play for our school? Or is it, what does it look like?
I'm going to point out first, because Dan's going to let me have it if I don't, that I wasn't on the bench for the 3rd year. I'd stepped away at that point, but the first 2 I was there. So, but I got to give all the credit to Dan. Like Dan, and it's funny because when we talked to girls basketball, I teamed up with Dan again. He helped me with Dan and his wife, Brenda, who took time out of her work. She was taking vacation days to come help us out. So kudos to her. But I got to give a lot of credit to Dan. He ran a serious program. Like he had, like our practices were system-based, less skill-based. He ran it very much like a rep program, like so AA, AAA at that level. And he expected a certain commitment. So especially with high school sports, sometimes you don't get that commitment where, it's okay to miss practice. They take this step from the AA, AAA level to play with their friends and expect it to be less demanding. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to, like, my diet's all right. Like, on all those, like, I don't have some, maybe practice, I won't go all out today. Whereas Dan kept that standard very high and kept the kids accountable. So we never ran into it in those situations where we had kids going off the rails and taking people out and stuff like that. So Dan kept them on a really good fine line. And you know what? We had years where we struggled. Like to get to those 2 or 3 championships, it took us a while. And it was just sticking to that commitment that we're just going to work harder and run our program like a rep system. And you got to get lucky every once in a while. So the first year we won, you might remember this, it was Scholar incredible upset over Chippewa in a semi.
Yeah, Pavoni, yeah. Don't worry.
Like an absolute. So we took care of business against Ferris in our semi, and then Scholar, like we were fully anticipated running into Chippewa in the final, who had a really good team. And I don't know, the Plummer, I think, was the goalie, and he just stood on his head, and it was fun to watch. So they ended up beating Chippewa in their semi, and we were lucky enough to sweep Scholar and win our first one.
It's kind of similar to this year in a way.
Yeah.
Right? For Scholar to expecting Algonquin, and then Chippewa comes through with a big upset.
Yeah. So, and then the second year we were good from the start. Like we knew we were going to be really competitive. And that year we made a run. We won NDA, really competitive at NASA, like had a real chance at qualifying for NASA. And then at OFSAA, sorry. And then stepped away, and then Dan kept going. And Dan did one more year. And he took that team. That team was really good. He took them. They ran through the NDA, and they actually qualified for OFSAA.
But COVID
hit, yeah. So the irony of it all was Dan was going to Europe with the school. He was going to Europe with the school. So he had already pinned me to take the hockey team to OFSAA if they qualified for OFSAA. So here I am, having explained to my wife that I haven't coached all year, and then now I got to go to Windsor for 3 days. But COVID hit, and unfortunately the offices were canceled. Dan's trip to Europe was canceled. So
yeah,
and then
it was a tough year.
It was a tough year. Yeah,
I was in grade 7, 8, and 9 when you guys won, and I remember that team to be like the mid 2010s, like Warriors. Like nobody could beat you guys. Like I'd pick you guys over anybody. Like the '96 Bulls, I'd pick you guys. You know what I mean? Like today, like they would hammer Scholar, I think.
Oh yeah.
They had like some huge defensemen that you could not get by, and then some like skilled forwards that, like, how many did Martineau have? How many goals did he have?
He was final year there. He was like, they had Martineau, Landry, all kids that were in the AAA system that had stepped away and decided that. But the thing is, they treated it like it was still a AAA. So they were committed, and their goal was to get to OFSAA. So
like Woodfield Whitfield had a guy, Gage King, who it seemed like he scored every time he touched the ice. And you guys, like, not totally shut him down, but overcame that and were the only team that could beat them that year. Wow, the goaltender story, of course.
Yeah.
But, yeah, still, like...
I'll give Dan a ton of credit that the way he coaches is, like, every shift is a matchup. So he'll match up, he'll put the D out, that he has his game plan when he goes into it, and he coaches to it, and which is sometimes things that you don't see at the high school level, in a sense that some people think that we don't take it as seriously. But Dan does a really good job at scouting and matching up and setting up our D pairings and our checking lines, and like we were built to match up, and in the end it paid off. So
absolutely. Yeah. Okay, and then let's talk Nick.
Yeah.
So
seems like you got some bones to pick.
No, this has got a hidden agenda.
Only great things for Nick.
This is the only. As soon as he saw your name on, as soon as I'm like, yeah, we got Matt coming in, you're like, okay, here we go.
So Nick captained the team for 2 years.
So
like 1 year with you and 1 year.
1 year with me and 1 year without me.
So
I'm pretty sure I was right. Yeah.
Like what was his
Nick? Who first of all?
Nick Tessier.
Nick Tessier. Okay, for people who would like. Yeah. Okay.
So I guess 2 questions. First one is like, what made him a special hockey player and a special kid to become captain?
So what made Nick different than most is that he was able to transition right in from grade 9. Like he played high school hockey right coming in from grade 9, which is, as you could, is a tough thing to do because there's that huge age gap, right? Like from 9 to grade 13, like you're looking at 4 to 5 years. Like I still remember, like Ferris had this kid, Tanner White, who was a proper man. Like he was a proper man, and you send this little 14-year-old out there, and like I don't think Nick ever ran into Tanner, but we had situations similar to that where you're just like, man, you kind of got to find a way to protect. But he did a really good job at making himself a key part of our team right from the start. So, and he was a bit of a Swiss Army knife. We could put him a little bit anywhere. He could play D, he could play forward. So I think at first he started as a defenseman, and then we transitioned him into a forward, or was it the other way around? It might have been the other way around, forward to D. But, and then as he progressed in grade 10, grade 11, he just became a bigger voice in the room. Like, and he had been through it, he had experience, so he got the respect of the room. So that what made him a natural leader, a natural captain.
Absolutely. And then what was his like best moment, like all-time moment, like either in a game or off the ice?
To be honest, I don't know if I could name you a proper moment. It's been probably 6 or 7 years removed now from hockey.
2018.
But I do remember he was part of that first team we won, and that team was from top to bottom just very deep, and like he was. I remember him just being fearless. Like he really did a really good job at they would say stirring the pot, to use another word. So he would get us into those situations where we could get these power plays and these very situational stuff, and he was an excellent penalty killer. So like the guy really was a big part of those championship winning teams.
Yeah, he's like it feisty. Sounds like him, but he's very smart about it. Like he knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah. Like some coaches will yell and yell and yell at their kids, and it's like, listen, I got it.
Yeah, there was in terms of there's very little things you needed to say to Nick that he didn't already know. So he was an easy guy to coach.
Yeah, he's lovely. We could talk logos all day. We could talk about him the whole hour.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish off because we've been going like for almost an hour now.
Oh, good.
So let's finish off just with the girls' hockey a bit because you coached Algonquin.
I did, yeah.
This year, we were talking about that again, kind of before we got on air, and talk to us a little bit about the league as a whole because it is kind of it's great that the league exists. There's NASA, there's OFSAA, like it's a fully fledged NDA league, which is I think it's pretty brand new for the most part.
2 years now, yeah.
But then you also play at like 8 a.m. So so walk us through a little bit about how the league works, why you play at such kind of weird times, and
so this was my first year with the girls hockey program, and again I have to reach back to my colleagues. Like we have such a great group of teachers at our school that really put the kids first, And Amanda Beaudry, who was our girls hockey coach up until this year, she took a step back this year to take over our alpine skiing and our snowboarding. So you could just get a sense of how the sports at our school are just run by teachers, which makes all the difference because the kids they're accountable to their teachers and stuff like that. But so she took it upon herself to get girls hockey to become an NDA sport. So she wrote out all the playing regulations, set the motion up for the NDA, and got it all set up. And to the point where last year, everything went through, and it was their first NDA that they didn't have a banner. So the day of the NDA championship, we were in our makerspace printing out an NDA banner. Unfortunately, we weren't able to take it home with us, but Scholar did that. But so this year, the way it works is NASA requires you to play 6 games. So in the past, what happened was we would always send a team to NASA, but there would be no NDA. So you would go play tournaments, like just day tournaments. So we'd go to Arnprior, we'd go to Algonquin. But the issue we ran into that was that there was just such a disparity in the girls' hockey programs from school to school. Whereas you have one school that's just all rep players, and then unfortunately you have to go play a school that just doesn't have that background in girls hockey.
Would you send like a specific school or just a collection of people from around North Bay to NASA?
So what would happen is we would declare whoever wanted to go to NASA.
Oh, okay.
And then there would be like a one-day tournament to declare the NDA representative to NASA.
Okay,
so like say Chippewa, Algonquin, and Scholar all want to go to NASA. We'll set up a 3-game round robin, and then the winner of that would represent NDA at NASA. So that being said, Amanda wanted something a little more organized, a little more prepared. So we started a league, and unfortunately, she didn't get to see the fruits of all her labor because this was the first year we had the proper league. And because it's girls hockey, they're allowed to do both club hockey and high school hockey. We kind of got pigeonholed into day games to not infringe on the rep programs and their practices and their games afterwards. So we had 5 days of doubleheaders where we had 4 teams this year: Algonquin, Scholar, Chippewa, and West Ferris. And we played each team twice and then go into a semi and into a final and select our champion.
How much pushback do you get from other teachers? Because you're taking kids out of school, right?
Yeah.
Like on a Friday or whatever for a good chunk of the morning.
Yeah.
So you're missing like, I don't know how many periods you guys have now, but you're missing like 3 periods or whatever. So I'm sure there are some teachers who are not too impressed. But
absolutely, yeah. Selfishly myself, like just like you miss 2 or 3 days of biology class, you're kind of you're behind.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm gonna live it next week. There, I got one of my students plays for the midget AAAs, so they're gone for a week, I think, right, for their centrals. So like it'll just be, but they all understand. Like it's a fine balance between academics and athletics in a sense that academics are absolutely important, and I'm all for it. We're teachers first, coaches second, and they're students first, athletes second. But the memories are made in the dressing room, on the court, those type of things. Like they don't always remember their calculus class, but they'll remember.
They should.
They should. Yeah, they should. But they'll remember the moments. So we try to. At first, there was some pushback from the administrations, like the 4 principals. But it's really our only option outside of playing late at night or on week,
or like 5 a.m. in the morning. Or
exactly. So they're good about it. We spread them out once. We did 1 day a month. So it's not a ton of school missed. And the kids are all, with everything set up post-COVID now, there's a lot of access to teachers and materials and resources outside of the classroom. Like I know when I was in COVID, I recorded all my lessons. So at this point now, I've got my grade 11 and my grade 12 biology classes just recorded. I could press button and play, but
it forced you to have to get with
exactly
the time.
Right, to get interesting with it. And then
I was in retail at the time, and it was the same thing. Like, so I was at Best Buy, but we were already at that point.
Yeah.
But then all these other retail stores had to like get to the point where you could actually function in COVID.
Absolutely.
So it kind of forced people into, I guess, where we are now.
So I know like math science department, the people that I'm around every day, we have a lot of our lessons recorded. So the kid's going to miss 3 or 4 days. We'll be here. So we could use our virtual platform just to send them the lessons, and they watch the lessons, and they're responsible for getting themselves caught up, and the kids are good with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, or they don't. And that's that.
Or they don't. Exactly. So, and it's a learning experience for them. And I always tell them, like, when they leave, like when they say they're in Ottawa U or Queens or wherever they are, there's no mom or dad waking them up to go to class. So
It's true.
You got to develop these responsibilities and a little bit of autonomy. And
Yeah, because I remember talking to somebody about club sports, and their kids were in club sports, and they missed so much school. I think it was like March the one year where they're in school one day this month or something like that because they go to tournaments. Or there's snow days and there's March break, and like even going into March break, there was that must have been amazing. There was for the kids Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was a PA day.
Yeah.
So outside of those with OFSAA,
we had 70 kids not see a class that week because they were OFSAA volunteers Monday, Tuesday. Snow day Wednesday, Thursday.
And a bunch of the kids were out of class watching. Like when I was there for OFSAA, there was a bunch of kids there as well.
Yeah, so our first day, Algonquin was playing at Canadore, so we didn't have a lot of people. But the second day, our board was fantastic with it. They paid buses for our elementary schools in our board to travel in, and so we had full stands, and it was loud, and
that's awesome.
Good memory for, even though our girls didn't sneak one out, it was a good memory for them.
Because that's got to be the Achilles heel for you guys is snow days, right? As a teacher, because you're like, there goes my lesson plan. Now I have to make it up later on.
Yeah.
And
I'm lucky enough that, like I said, like I'll send it. So we have the Microsoft Teams platform. I'll send a message out to the kids early. I'm like, all right, head over to our D2L, our virtual platform, and watch videos 1, 2.
So they can still do school while they're. Oh, thank God, I was not in school.
I was just going to say, you're lucky.
Let's go.
That was introduced as I was going through, and that's
so smart though, because now it's like, okay, well, outside of the people who don't have internet access, which is getting smaller and smaller because Starlink exists and other. Even out in Corbeil, they have like 5 now. Yeah, which is wild.
Yeah.
But there's options for people who have internet. So it's almost like snow days have just become more remote learning days.
Exactly. It's essentially how we treat them. Like we'll send a message to our students, be like, all right, this is what you have to get done. And we're always available through the Microsoft Teams platform. So if they have questions while they're doing it or watching the lesson, they just ask the question and we're available to them. So
as an adult, that's amazing. As a student, that would suck.
I remember like different experience being a teacher kid, but it was better for me to go in and talk to the teacher and be like, listen, I'm not doing this online. Like, please tell me what I need to know. And that's it.
Yeah. But then some teachers are weird about it because they're like, they almost like, there are a lot of great teachers, but then there's some teachers who like don't want to, like if it's a snow day, they don't want to deal with kids. And it
depends on the generation as well too, right? Like I know of the younger generation, we're so used to technology that we're right into the technology age where we know how to use but trying to get someone who's closer to retirement to get in there and stare in front of their computer and manipulate.
I say that to my mom because she'll be like, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, Mom, you were a teacher for like however long. You had to do emails for work. Yeah. You know how to do this.
Similar conversation with Bob a lot of the time.
I'm like, how do you function at work if you don't know how to do like open a browser? Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. My dad was a teacher as well. And he, before he went into retirement, thank God, they had just introduced these smart boards. So right? So like him being just old school, took out a dry erase marker and started writing all over the smartboard, ruined a smartboard in the first
that sounds about right.
25 minutes of it being on the wall. So it was probably time for him to cash in his chips.
What's your favorite piece of technology as a teacher now that you didn't have as a student?
To be honest, I like our virtual platform, like our online campus is incredible. Yeah. So the way I could set it up, all my lessons get posted there. Like, so what I do is
almost like college. Like,
it's exactly like that. Yeah. So like, all the notes or like all the class notes are on there. The kids can print them out if they want. They could use their laptops if they want. At the end of every unit, I post all my virtual lessons. So like the kids could use it as review, so they don't have to sit there and like go through the notes, didn't understand, say they missed a day or whatever, catch up with that. I don't post them during teaching just because the students will tend to stay home. We've noticed that, like, why would I go to class? Especially my grade 12s. If they drive, they have spare in the afternoon. They'll go home at lunch and just watch the lesson online. So I kind of keep that carrot to myself before they go. And then all of the homework I could just post online, post the homework and then post the corrected versions. So the kids really get a sense of, they learn at their own rate at this point. So kids have jobs, athletics, club sports, stuff like that. Like if I assign a homework every night and tell them, all right, I'm going to check tomorrow, it's just not feasible for some kids. So I hand them out the homework at the beginning of the unit, like similar to how the colleges run.
I was going to say, it sounds pretty familiar.
Here's your readings for the semester, and then at the end of the unit, I'll check it, and then do my formative assessments and my diagnostics and see where their strong points, weak points are, and then hopefully get them ready for the summative.
Have you noticed over the last, I guess you've been teaching, 10, 15 years?
This is 14 years. Now, yeah.
Have you noticed an increase in like grades and scores and just how people are interacting with or learning now that, post-COVID and we're in this?
Yeah, so post-COVID, there was definitely a dip in terms of working habits, just habits of working. Yeah. Just kids, they're just not being used to being accountable to, all right, getting this homework done, due dates, tests being done virtually, it was all multiple choice. And so there was those formative years, those kids that were in grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, where they really have to hammer them to develop those work habits. We struggled with that. But now, we're far enough removed now that the kids we're almost back into a regular flow that we had in the past. And but it's allowed us as well to be a little bit more stringent in our marking. So the way we're marking now is that we could take these, we call it differentiation and triangulation. It's just you take all of these things in factor, not just a summative evaluation. You look at their formatives, you look at their work habits. So the kid that's getting away with just showing up and writing the test is necessarily he's doing well, but he could also reach higher as the kid who's, it might not go super well on the test, but the kid's working so hard. We could use that in the way we mark. So we could evaluate their homework and their stuff like that to just kind of boost them up just a bit. But
well, I'm glad it was in high school when I was in high school.
Yeah.
No, it sounds amazing as a teacher, the tools you have and stuff, which is awesome. Did you have anything else, Jackson, before we finish this hour-long conversation?
I don't think so. I think I've heard great things about you, obviously, and you're a great guy, great coach. Definitely historic coach. People would remember. People are gonna remember. I'll always remember. My sister remembers.
Yeah, coaching against Annie.
So yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And that was Mat Sneddon. About an hour later, we come back to our main portion of the show, and it was just a fantastic conversation with somebody who just really lives and breathes sports in the NDA circuit and beyond that as well.
Yeah, he has a fair amount. He mentioned the Spartans, he has a good grip on city sports, and he talked about he's a family man these days, and so he's gonna bring 2 more athletes to Algonquin, most likely.
Yeah. I wonder if he'll come back next year for senior girls, because he kind of kept it open-ended. I didn't ask him that. He said he had to, talking about taking a step away from his, his kids a little bit, taking a step away from his coaching for his kids because of the commitment it takes. I wonder if he'll be back. I mean, they had a solid season this year. They were, I believe, they went to the semis.
Yeah,
and they lost to, I want to say it was Schollard or Chippewa.
Yeah,
one of the. Well, it had to be one of the two because they got to the finals. But I remember them having a solid team this year, but did fall a little bit short.
I don't think I would be surprised if he came back, but if I understand family's number one always.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if he doesn't come back, he'll continue to be a contributing community member and host more OFSAAs and do what he can.
Yeah, you always have to scratch the itch. It's just finding out how you can do that with the time that is given to you. Yeah. So that was pretty awesome. So next week we've got the NDA All-Star game. I'm expecting to go over there Tuesday evening for that. If you have nothing else going on, or even if you do, just don't go and go to the NDA All-Star game. It should be it's always a fun time at the Canadore gym. And other than that, we're going to try. We've got a couple of how do you want to say it? Lines in the water. Is that a saying? Some hooks out.
It is now.
It is now. So lines in the water for some more guests as we try to get through this bit of a lull period heading into the spring sports as it's finally starting to warm up outside, and you can just feel that it's spring. Not this morning when I came here and it was snowing, but I digress.
You can feel it.
You can feel it. All right, so that's been Echo Sportscast number 79.
I'm Jackson Bull.
And I'm Ben Sargent. Thank you so much for watching, listening, sharing, subscribing, all of that stuff. If you have any sports you want us to cover, if you have any results, if you know anybody that you want us to interview that has been a big part of the sporting community, or you think would be an interesting person to talk to, you can always reach out to us. You can send it to my email, ben@northbayecho.ca. You can send it to our socials on Instagram and Facebook under North Bay Echo, and we would love to hear from you. So outside of that, we will see you again next Friday for another edition of the Echo Sportscast.